Sons of the Forest, and I went from nothing but an emergency pouch to acquiring every single tool within the game. Let's get right into the tool snatching shenanigans. I began my journey in a helicopter like my favorite basketball star Kobe Bryant. After crashing, I cut myself down and wake up to see the scariest monster N-Night has ever created. A woman. After pistol whipping the absolute misogyny out of me, I wake up and grab my emergency pouch. It was here where I acquired my first 4 tools: Baby Axe, Google Maps, Edgy Lighter, and the Survival Handbook. Now for those of you who haven't played this game before, the island I'm on is infested with hostile animals, cannibals, Helen Keller, and whatever the fuck these things are. So if I want to get every tool in the game, I'll need to be careful, crafty, and explore new levels of unfound savagery. Now before we start getting any more tools, there's 3 things I need first: food, shelter, and a warm hole to stick my dick. I commanded my newfound pocket pussy to catch fish for me while I focused on making home base. It took a whole day of back-breaking labor, but I managed to create a cozy log cabin complete with a spacious attic and back patio. So Keegan thought it would be a great idea to store the C4 next to the goddamn fireplace. So I'm gonna teach him a lesson by storing this axe in his skull. I went downstream to get my next tool, one of the most useful but controversial items in the game: the police brutality stick. And now relax, guys, I'm not a monster. Sure, I borderline recreated an alien holocaust in one of my previous videos, but I would not resort to something as low as racism. That's why I will only be using the stick on white people. Yeah! Woo! The next tool I want to get is the grappling gun. 1, because it's conveniently located in a cave right next to home base, and 2, because I'll need it to get another tool later in the game. Now, the caves in this game are very dark and dangerous, but regardless of what bloodthirsty eldritch horrors hide in this cave, there is nothing that can break my courage and stop me from... So we're gonna need to get some protection first. However, since condoms don't exist in the game yet, I'm going to use my other favorite method of lowering pregnancy rates: a gun. Now finding a gun would normally be damn near impossible in a situation like this, but I happen to have a tool to help me find one fast and easy. Hey Google, show me the location of the nearest American. I eventually found myself at the shore, and in the distance, a floating traffic cone. I could swim out there myself to check it out, but I've played enough Subnautica to know exactly where this goes. If only I still had someone genuinely stupid enough to swim out there with no regard for his own life, simply because there's less activity going on in his brain than a sterile nun's vagina.
I'm on my way.
Wait, how the fuck are you alive? Even though it's much safer to send out my handicapped handjob machine, I still can't bring myself to trust him knowing he 9/11'd my log cabin. So I took the risk and swam out there myself. I climb into the floating traffic cone, grab the wireless hole puncher, and swim.
What's up, fuckers?
When I got back to shore, I noticed a green pulsing marker on my map nearby. I went to investigate since it might be the location of another tool. The marker led to a seemingly average cave entrance, but I sensed something special about the cave. I squeezed through and shambled through the darkness, and instead of encountering off-brand skinwalkers, I found myself in a hallway with a room in the corner, and inside of it was a 3D printer. Even though I was heavily disappointed by the fact that I can't 3D print my own firearms, I still took what I could and printed out a mask, a flask, and a litter box. I tried to explore further into the facility, but was stopped due to low social credit, so I looted up the rest of the area and left the cave to find a way to bypass the door. Now I could find a way to boost my own social credit, but I suffer from this horrible mental illness called laziness. However, I could bypass the door using the power of identity theft, but more on that later. I don't want to get hung up on that issue I cut down the Logan Paul reference and looted its body, finding some vodka, Snickers, and a flashlight. I also found the bigger, blacker axe nearby and came across another cave. I chopped down the barrier and squeezed through the opening, using the blicky to put holes in anything in my way. That is a walking vagina with fingers. I tried rearranging its brain matter, but it proved to be ineffective against the slimy, fingery fuck. This is a bad spot to be in because I don't have any other tools to use against this thing without... Wait a minute, you're white! Moving forward, I found a stun gun and some scuba gear. I went to test it out in the waters nearby and found some sort of underwater path. After squeezing through some holes tighter than the Mappa animation schedule, I made it out of the cave and reunited with Kyle. But right as I got back on land, I noticed a camp in the distance. My inner Luke Goblin told me to go check it out, and holy guacamole, I hit the jackpot. I found some C4, grenades, ammo, and a machete with the exact angle curvature of my dick. Now that I have the protection I need, it was time for me to get the grappling gun. My first obstacle was a huge pit of blind mutants freely roaming around the cave. I stealthily take them out by chucking nades like an 80s action movie. Once my indoor 4th of July party was done, I harvested their organs and found the Jesus insignia. With this wonderful item, I'm now protected from any evil that crosses my path. I tried using the power of Jesus to move the horrified nutsack, but it turned out to be atheist or something, so I decided to use the power of Allah instead. I squeezed past the flesh remnants, and why is there a baby human centipede? I tried beating them with police brutality, but their white privilege didn't succumb to its righteous judgment, so I decided to split them up with my axe. And just a little further down the cave, I got my hands on the grappling gun. Using a zipline that was conveniently placed nearby, I got to an exit to progress further. In order to do that, there's one more tool I'll need: the shovel. Although I have all the tools necessary to get the shovel, there's a bit of a problem. The cave that the shovel is in is one of the most dangerous caves on the entire island, containing more mutants than the entirety of Great Britain. And to make things worse, I'm running low on the 3 A's: armor, ammo, and explosives. However, you can help me solve this crisis. All you need to do is use that beautiful finger of yours to hit like and subscribe. Honestly, that was my cheapest plug yet. I apologize. And you can accept my apology by hitting like and all jokes aside, you don't have to, but any support I get helps me turn this hobby into a full-time job, which means I can edit videos faster and you can get delivered fresh, crispy content much sooner. But if you do sub, I'll suck your dick. After picking up the Bart Simpson blicky, I squeezed through the entrance, ziplined into the cave, and dove into the water. I fought vigorously with the tools I had, trying to save my last 3 bullets in case I get into a really bad situation. And right as I got to the end of the cave, the shovel was being guarded by 2 Siamese Spider-Man. Since these guys are already a powerful foe just on their own, I had no choice but to pull out the strap. There was no room for error in this fight. In order to survive, I needed to hit my shots. Well, I'm fucked. Lucky for me, I had a backup plan. I calculated the distance between me and the mutant, which turned out to be 15 feet. Judging by the amount of blood that's on the body and on the floor, I calculated that I had enough HP to survive 2.5 exits. I did a cost-benefit analysis, taking into account that I had full armor and near full stamina, and came to the conclusion that the right response was running away like a little bitch. I used police brutality to slow them down, and it gave me just enough time to grab the shovel and all the other valuable items around it. Now that I have the shovel, it's time to do some digging. But unlike my ex, I'm not digging up the past. Instead, this is the location of one of the maintenance workers' apartments. And if I could just break in and steal his social credit, we'll be able to bypass most locked doors on the island. I open up the hatch and drop down, holding out the electrical blicky in case a bitch want to test me. I make my way carefully to the apartment to find that no one was home. Now we just have to search the area and find out where the worker stores his card. Huh. That was easy. While looking around the area for any more loot, I also end up finding a fireman axe. Once I finished robbing this apartment, I checked out another marker nearby and found another cave. But instead of leading into a facility or a tool, I found a hatch that led to a commercial freezer. This freezer was stocked with all the goods, from bacon bites to crunchy onesies and even instant ramen. I don't know why they're refrigerating instant ramen, but you know, I'm happy they got it, okay? Seeing all this food is making me hungry, so let's take a quick snack break. What are we eating? My new Patreons, of course. Dana Leanne and Abe Polk. Thank you guys for supporting the channel and all the nonsense that comes with it. Now you'll become one with me, along with the many others who helped me turn YouTube into a much more interesting place. After my snack, I bypass the locked door using my stolen social credit and find an immaculate marijuana farm, growing pounds upon pounds of raw boof in every room. But this isn't what I'm here for. I searched the rooms carefully and found another tool hidden in the darkness: a crossbow. But before I could continue any further, there was a finger fucker in my way. A perfect opportunity to test out my new long-distance penetrator. As I explored deeper, something seemed to change, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Oh, that's it. The wall is a different shade of white. I got to the security office and found some sort of Harlem Shake compilation playing on the monitors. I also snagged another key card and came across some sort of party room. Besides some small bits of food, I didn't find anything interesting, so I made my way out to continue my tool snatching. Things are only gonna get more dangerous from here, and my trusted blicky won't be able to keep up with the increasing threat level. So we're gonna need to get more firepower. How are we gonna do that? Simple. Hey Google, show me the location of the nearest redneck American. I follow Google Maps, and instead of finding a dead body laying on the ground, I find a grave instead. I've done a lot of horrible acts in my short 2 years on YouTube, but am I really gonna put grave robbing on my list? Of course I am. I'm trying to 100% this bitch. Now let's see what this motherfucker got on him. Now that I possess the American war crime stick and enough ammunition to be considered a domestic terrorist, it was time to explore the mountain caves. I've wasted 2 hours of my life searching caves emptier than a politician's promise. And all I have to show for it is a fucking can opener. A can opener for cans that are filled with literal cat food.
Finally, some good fucking food.
But now that I've searched every cave on the island, that means that the rest of the tools are going to be at the green markers. So I wasted no time and made my way to another facility, which happened to be inside of another cave. I searched around, found an opening, dropped down, and started making my way down the stairs. I hear a lot of commotion coming from this yellow door, and I open it up to find your mother and siblings getting aired out by this Tank Dempsey from Wish.com. Like, bro, what was that play? Before Goodwill Dempsey could kill us both, the Terminator pulled up and started peppering up the blob. This is why we don't give women firearms. I woke up and found that the blob blocked the way I came, so I had no choice but to go deeper into the mutant-infested facility. And it wasn't long before I encountered more monstrosities, but I found myself pretty well equipped for the situation. While I went door to door painting the walls with mutant blood, I also searched the rooms where I got my hands on a katana, some golden armor, a putter, and a golden mask. I only need a couple more tools before I'm finally done with the challenge, and since I still have enough equipment to take over a third world country, I dashed over to the next screen marker and began digging. The facility I dropped into was silent and pretty empty. I was starting to think that this borderline robbery was a bust, but in the middle of an empty room, I found a corpse holding another firearm to add to my collection. I ran out with glee, but my excitement was soon halted by Great Value Leatherface, and his excitement was soon halted by a bullet between his eyes. I made my way back to the 3D printer cave to open the locked door, and behind it was the scariest place a man could find himself in. Planet Fitness. I tried to blend in by hitting some squats and going for a run, but when I went to bench, I made the horrible mistake of making eye contact with a woman. Before she could pull out her phone and make a TikTok about the violation, I pulled out my pocket rocket and turned everyone into Swiss cheese. This might be the behavior of a future violent murderer, but at least I'm not a pervert. After killing all the TikTok thoughts, I went to explore some more, and Jesus Christ! Wait a minute, that's a limited edition lean purple election Gibson guitar! After recovering the guitar, I loot the rest of the area and find a purple key card and a battery-powered chainsaw, leaving with only 2 more green markers to explore, but only 1 more tool left to find. Realizing it was a 50-50 shot, I rushed towards the closest marker, but found that there was a cannibal camp built right on top of where I needed to dig. This was definitely a problem, but not for me, for them. After coming to a mutual agreement, I began digging.
Hello, neighborino to the north.
I dropped down and navigated through the flooded rooms without any opposition and got my hands on the last tool I needed, the compound bow. Now that we have all the tools in the game, let's get the fuck off of this island. I head over to the last green marker and found myself at a bunker entrance. I busted through the door like an FBI agent and found the most delectable underground base I've ever seen. Besides the forbidden piñata in the living room, everything seemed pretty normal for an American household. But when I got to the bathroom, I found a secret passage. I traversed through the mist and find a dark, ominous door with a suspicious hand imprint on the side. The impulsive thoughts won and I slapped the shit out of that door. But instead of taking away my meat beater, the door opened. I know it's not a good idea to run into a dark ass chamber, but how much worse can it get? What the fuck is that? Bro, I'm really about to die to this demonic ass spike. Wait, demonic? I ran through the lava area. I carefully run through the lava area, keeping back the demons with my cross until I found myself at the end of the cave, where I reunited with Off-Brand Dempsey at this cube formation. We went to check it out, but the door closed behind us, and something began to happen.
Oh, shit!
This is Cyberpunk 2077. With the help of this Jesse Pinkman lookalike and Old Dean Winchester, it was time for me to leave the island. But before I board the helicopter with them, you know I ain't leaving without these tools. I spent so many goddamn hours trying to get these hoes that I'm taking them back with me as a souvenir. Where are you going? Don't leave me here! Well, at least I could say that I have all the possible tools you can get in the game. After all, there's no shot that they'll add any more, right?
Inside an uncaring God's palm. 10 years until my paradigm shifted. DMC dialogue, I ran the walls of my skull until my feet bled black. I'm near the peak, step back, I felt yo